again, everybody, and welcome to another financial segment, how to protect yourself and everything you need to know about finances with the number one guy in town, Todd Bauman. Todd, thank you so much again from Bauman Wealth Advisors. Questions keep on coming up, Todd. I have one, and I'm going to let you talk about it, and that has to do with any retirement money that I have saved up. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that my beneficiaries, in this case, my children, my adult children, are protected and covered in case anything, once something happens to me. What do we do?
So when you say retirement, Dan, you mean like your IRA, your Roth, things like that? Okay, so those type of accounts, Dan, must be owned by you. They have to be in Dan's name only. And then on there, Dan, you have beneficiary designations.
Okay.
And so we're seeing massive problems every day that people have accounts like that, but they only have a primary beneficiary, Dan. They do not have a contingent beneficiary. Right. Okay. So let's say that, I'm married to Julie, right? And we each have an IRA, and I'm Julie's primary and Julie's my primary.
Correct.
And let's say we did not have a contingent beneficiary, right? And so I die first, Dan, because it's, us guys.
Because you want to.
Because I choose to, you know the joke, Dan. All right, so I choose to go first, ladies and gentlemen. And Julie inherits my IRA because she's my spouse. It becomes her IRA. Okay. Now, I was her primary. I had a mentor, Dan, who taught me how to run numbers and do actuarial work. And I came to Julie one day and I said, honey, I did the math. And when I die, I think you're going to make it about 3 days and 11 hours, and then you're going to end up passing away, right?
Yeah.
And that was a joke.
She's
like, whatever, you know.
Whatever.
So anyway, that's a joke. So when Julie passes away, I was her primary. Okay, she's gone. I'm not there to receive it, and she has no contingent beneficiary in place. Her IRA, ladies and gentlemen, is going to go through probate. Now the courts are going to get involved and determine who gets Julie's IRA. Okay, so you resolve that by having primary beneficiaries and contingent beneficiaries in place. So had Julie had a contingent, I was her primary, I died first, her contingent would have stepped in and received her IRA upon her demise.
And is it common that a good deal of people will not have a contingent beneficiary?
I'm seeing people are not having contingent beneficiaries. Probably about 80 to 90% of everyone that I meet does not have a contingent beneficiaries. And these people have their accounts at big firms like Schwab, Vanguard, Fidelity, you name it. And I'm not beating them up, but their job is to manage the money. And so they want to get the account open, name a primary on there, and then let's manage the money, make our fees, and do my job, do our job. But they're not going deeper and making sure clients are having contingent beneficiaries in place.
I mean, that sounds like financial malpractice, only because, like you said, you say the word probate, there's court fees, there's lawyer fees.
Correct.
Nobody wins. I mean, the family doesn't win.
Right, yeah, and it's honestly unnecessary because all you have to do is name a contingent beneficiary. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have IRAs, if you have Roths, I encourage you to go check your primary and then double check your contingent beneficiary. Now, Dan, you asked me a question. How do I protect my kids when I pass away? So if you want your IRA to go to your children, you would want to make them the primary beneficiary. Okay. If you wanted it to go to your wife first, then your children, and you die, it's your wife's IRA. And in all honesty, it's her IRA. She can do whatever she wants with her IRA at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can see a scenario that we can laugh and kid about in which the wife remarries, she goes, the new husband steps in and says, I don't know who your kids are.
Yeah, I mean, to guarantee it goes to your children, you would have to make your kids the primary, but now your wife's out of the picture.
Yeah.
So there's another way of doing it. You could, if you have a revocable living trust, you could make the trust the primary beneficiary, Dan, but that opens up a whole can of worms. It gets very complicated, muddied waters. I literally just had an appointment a couple weeks ago in our Summerlin office, and she had her trust as the primary beneficiary. She has 3 children, And I'm looking at it and I said to her, we'll call her Susie. That's not her real name, but we'll call her Susie, right? And I'm like, Susie, why is your trust the primary beneficiary? And she said, well, that's how they set it up.
That's how they set it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She goes, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
And I said, well, here's the problem. The IRS has changed the rules on inheriting IRAs, right? So if a non-spouse inherits your IRA, like children, they have 10 years in which to cash in your IRA. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. If you make the trust the beneficiary and your children are the beneficiaries of the trust, your kids will get the money through the trust, but the trust has to cash it in within 5 years. So you shorten that time frame up, which could create more taxable income to your children. So you're not giving them the best options possible. All right.
Go ahead.
Number 2, the successor trustee in charge of the trust is responsible for all of that, cashing it in the IRAs, distributing it to the beneficiaries, where had you made your children the beneficiary, each child can go deal with the custodian, Schwab, Vanguard, or whatever. They would have cut the IRA up into each child's name. This child could have cashed it in immediately. This one could have done it over 10 years. This one could have done whatever they want.
Then wait, let me give you a plug, because I know what you're doing for me and you're doing for a lot of people at the Vegas Voice. I am not as sophisticated, nowhere near as Todd. So I can sit down with him, I can ask him a million questions, and you can see he has all the answers as to what is best for you, because what is best for me may not be good for you. So Todd, if people want more information, they want to sit with you, they want to find out, wait a minute, what did I do?
Right.
Because most people really, they don't know. They rely on their Schwab or whatever.
Yeah.
How do they get a hold of you?
So great question, Dan. You can call our office. And one more point on Susie really quick. So this is one of the benefits of working with us is we also dive into the estate planning. We're very proficient in living trust, wills, power of attorney. So I looked at Susie's trust to find out she has the old retirement plan language, which was really going to screw her children over because she didn't have the new language in there. So we can look at your trust, we can look at your beneficiaries, we can look at everything you have and guide you down the right track in retirement. Make sure you're doing it the best way possible for you, for your children, or whomever you're leaving your portfolio or your estate to. And you do that by giving us a call at 702-897-9997, 702-897-9997. We offer complimentary consultations at any one of our offices. We have a Summerlin location, Henderson location. We get together, bring all your stuff in, we go over it with you. If you're all set, we tell you. If you're not, we tell you, and then we give you really good advice on what to do, what not to do, and then we put the ball back in your court and do whatever you want. It's that simple, Dan.
And the best part about Todd, again, let me give you a plug, is that you're not as sophisticated with the finances and the trust and the annuities and the retirement and everything else. You need some guy that you can rely on, that you know is knowledgeable, that you trust. The most important thing for me was I trust you.
Thank you.
And so far, so good.
So far, so good. It's been a long time.
It has been. And I'm not going anywhere, hopefully.
Not anytime soon.
You got it. So anyway, this is Dan Roberts, Todd Bauman saying, we'll see you again next time, and we'll have more great financial advice for you then. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dan.